You are listening to the B.I.G Show with your hosts, Calvin and Garland. The B.I.G Show is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Here are your hosts, Calvin and Garland.
It is the big show.
Big up.
And we're back. I think we took like another week hiatus. You know, my grandson be killing us. But anyway, that ain't even what we here to talk about. It's the big show.
I don't even know what happened last week.
You can find us. You can find us on all your podcast platforms. We're live on YouTube.
Jay, we're gonna be more consistent, Jay.
And if you got Spotify, you can see us live on there. You know what? I had to rush through this because we were sitting here right before the show having a debate. Not even a debate. Garland needs to stop the steal. That's all I'm trying to say. Garland, stop the steal.
Calvin Trump over there, I'm letting y'all know, Calvin Trump, he's trying to incite a riot, talking about go down to the Capitol and I'll meet you there. Calvin Trump.
Garland he got some creative ways of calculating around here. This even went back to last year.
Calvin went to one of the most prestigious high schools.
Exactly. And that's how I know. That's how I know that his numbers ain't right. That's how I know his numbers ain't right.
And he's always disputing my numbers, but he can't count.
We keeping up with this thing from now on, y'all. We need to stop the steal.
Bro.
Are y'all with me?
I ain't gonna be like the Capitol Police. I ain't just gonna be letting you spray bear mace in my face.
Yeah, we gonna get in there. We gonna steal the lectern and everything. We getting up in there.
Yeah. You and the Wolfman ain't coming into my chambers talking about give me the book and all that other stuff and screaming all in the chambers. Yeah,
Hey man, what we got going on today?
Bro, we're gonna talk some Major League Baseball playoffs. This has been some great games, great series. We're gonna recap our picks from week 5, and Calvin, we're going to look at the numbers and come up with the right numbers and all, and also talk about the Ravens game last week. I think Lamar, they already said he made the play of the year. This is early because Lamar, he probably got about 4 or 5 more plays in him that might be the play of the year, but we will talk about the game from last week. We're going to give our picks. We already did kind of submit our picks, but we're going to review them for everybody. Then we're going to get into a top 10 and then finish up with a little come on, yo.
All right.
I had to get a little swiggy swig there. So let's talk some Major League playoffs and Major League Baseball. And we'll start with the home team, the Baltimore Orioles. That was a quick one, Calvin. I mean, grand opening, grand closing. KC, the Kansas City Royals, they swept the Orioles 2-0 by scoring a combined 3 runs to the Orioles 1 run in that series. A lot of high hopes going into the series. A lot of people thought that the Orioles had a chance to get to the division round, which, I know the home team, we were thinking that they had that chance too. But it was kind of emblematic of the second half of the season. They just could not hit the ball. They could not sustain runs. Outside of hitting home runs, they could not find other ways to score. And so it was like home run or no runs. And, as much as they were battered with the pitching this year, losing 3 starting pitchers, trouble in the bullpen, they did have some injuries in the everyday players as well, Westberg, Urias, and others. It's the bats that really failed them in the end. I mean, so much so that people wanted to get rid of Brandon Hyde. But Mike Elias said that he's coming back next year, although they released 3 coaches from the coaching staff. One of the hitting coaches, the bench coach, and someone else was let go from the staff as well. So we see how they're going to retool that staff. But overall, Calvin, you went to both playoff games. What's your assessment on the ground? You were there. You saw the games.
Yeah. So just, it's like we always say, and I've been talking about this all season long. If you got a runner on first base and you have no outs and you are down a run, bunt the ball. The Orioles were in a position in game one where they had a runner on second base, no outs, going into your ninth hitter. Bunt him over to third base. Then you get to the top of your lineup, and all they need is a fly ball. What did he do? He struck out. It just changes the complexion of the whole game. The Orioles, and I don't know what the exact numbers are, but it felt like the Orioles struck out at least one time each inning. Most innings, it felt like two strikeouts for us. I mean, they were just whiffing the entire series. Now, I will say, we've always talked about the Orioles need to get pitching. They need to get pitching. They need to get pitching. The pitching showed up in this wild card series. The starting pitcher, game one, Burns, he went 9 innings. He went 8. Well, they call it 8 and a third innings. He went 8 and a third innings. The second day, they must have tried it out. Hyde must have tried it out. It felt like 20 pitches, a different pitcher every inning, sometimes 2 an inning. And people were complaining why he keep trotting out, why he take Danny Colomb out and put in this. With all that being said, they still only gave up 2 runs. The Orioles could not hit the ball, except for you, Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins was the only one hitting the ball. Gunnar Henderson, 0 for the series.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing here?
Santander only had 1 hit for the series.
Santander had bases loaded, no outs, and all he had to do was hit a fly ball. He pops up to the infield. The infield. It's just I don't hitting the ball. And I will say everybody at Camden Yards was extremely frustrated. It took the wind out of us. And a lot of people were also complaining about the time. The wild card games are starting at 4 and 4:30, and people are just getting off of work or having to take off of work. That's why Camden Yards wasn't filled up. I mean, but everything played against the Orioles, but the biggest thing that played against them was themselves. They're not hitting the ball. Now, a lot of people calling for Brandon Hyde's job. I'm not going to say that Brandon Hyde should stay as the manager, but this wild card series wasn't his fault. However, you cannot go 0-5 in 2 years in the postseason. You go 0-5, heads got to roll, and it should not just be coaches. It should be the manager also.
Let me ask you this. I mean, is he the guy that's going to get them over? Talking about Hyde. I mean, sometimes I think a coach can only take you so far. Like Hyde, you can only go so far with Hyde. I mean, he's, like you said, 2 years in a row.
Swept
2 years in a row. A lot of questionable decisions during the season. Now, this is a team that's built now for the playoffs. This is a playoff. You're ahead of schedule. There's no going back. There's no regressing because you've been in the playoffs 2 straight years. A lot of his decision making very questionable. The handling of the staff. I'm having some major issues because you're having so many people go down with arm issues on the staff. I'm concerned about the strength and conditioning. A lot of players hurt. Now the players not being able to finish. And so, you really got to take that back to management. And I don't know if he is the guy that's going to push them past the wild card. I don't have faith that he can do it.
And not only did you get swept, but you got swept when you were the higher seeded team. Last year, you were the number 1 team in the American League and got swept. This year, you were the higher seed in the wild card and got swept. And I agree with you. And it also goes back to, are we looking at Mike Elias? Are we looking at him also? Because when you talk about strength and conditioning, what is the one thing, if you remember with the Ravens, the one thing that we had going on was everybody was getting injured. And when your boy Lamar gets injured 2 years in a row and puts the team in a position where they can't win a playoff game, what they do, they got rid of the strength and conditioning coach. And what happened? He was healthy all season last season, and they made it to the AFC Championship game. So is it the entire staff? Like, I get that you want to get rid of hitting coaches, bench coaches. I get that, but it might be time to move on from Hyde. I mean, bless him. He got us to where we were.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Elias got us to where we were, but
He
just
was
like you
working with
said,
young players. I think you get some managers they can work with the young core, and
mm-hmm,
then once you get them ready, then you need someone else to take them to the next step.
mm-hmm, you
And
you you
yeah,
might need somebody else.
yeah.
So
But
I
he's going to
wouldn't
be
be
here another year.
opposed.
They've already committed, so
Well,
he's here for another season.
I'm looking at him like I look at John. He's going to be here for another year, but the expectations are so high that he may not finish out that year. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
he
I
just
mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. And now, if they have a similar season next year like they had this year, I mean, he's probably going to finish that season. I mean, this
right, right,
this
right.
was a team that had first place all the way up until probably
All
mid to
star,
late
little after the
August.
All Star break.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little bit after the All-Star break. I mean, they were back and forth with the Yankees. They were never more than a game or two out of it. And so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I agree. I don't know if he's that guy. And we see how they start off next year. Rushman, maybe it's time to move Adley to first or something like that, catching almost every day, although they did a good job of giving him a break with McCann. He just definitely fizzled out at the end of the season. I mean, this is one of your franchise players. Like you said, Henderson, Ofer for both games. I think, if there's a decision between him and Bobby Witt as the best shortstop in the American League, there's no question that Bobby Witt Jr. He hits for power, he hits for average, he steals bases, and he has a plus glove. And so Henderson showed us a lot. There's going to have to be some major changes in terms of fielding, in terms of hitting approach, in terms of conditioning and handling pitching, because those things are key, and we've just seen it throughout the series. And so it was great. Thank you, Orioles, for a summer when life was life, and it was a great diversion to go out to the park and hear Calvin make bad opinions about the Orioles and stuff like that. I don't know how much of the game we watch. We talk more so through the
we
game than
talk.
anything.
That's what we go for. We go to
Yeah.
kick it the married men's club.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was. Now we did have a couple upsets in the playoffs in the wild card. We had the Tigers. They swept the Astros. Astros was a team that Calvin and I were both high on going
Yeah.
into this. We thought that if there was a favorite to come out the American League, it probably was Houston because they've done it before, and we thought they could do it again. But they got swept up by the Tigers, and the Tigers are now in a battle with the Guardians in that series, and that series is tied 2-2 with the deciding game
Mm-hmm.
5 tomorrow in Cleveland. You have the Mets. The Mets, I've after the Orioles washed out, I went ahead and I jumped on the Mets bandwagon. They kind of remind me of the home team. They upset the Brewers. The Brewers really were a team that was looked at highly again to advance. They won that series 2-1, and they just knocked out the heavily favored Phillies out in that series 3 games to 1. Really no contest. The Phillies, they had to come back in the last inning to get game 2, 7-6. But all the other games, it was basically a Mets affair. Francisco Lindor, uh, great shortstop, powerful hitter. Their pitching's really come together. Their first baseman, he's come to life. And so out of these playoffs, and also the Yankees, we have to mention them. They did beat the Royals in the ALDS 2 game, excuse me, 3 games to 1. And
3-1. Yeah.
yeah, 3-1. And so looking at these results, and we have a game 5 tonight between the Padres and the Dodgers. That's been heated. Manny beefing with everybody. Tatis,
Everybody.
yeah, everybody. They ready to
Pro
go.
four out there.
Rose,
Pro 4 out there taunting the
yeah,
fans.
taunting the fans, and so this game goes back. That I'm sure San Diego wish they could have got that last game in San Diego to have to go back to Chavez Ravine to play that final game. It is going to be quite an atmosphere. And so, just any of your thoughts about the rest of the playoffs? Some of these upsets, the Mets. What are your thoughts?
It's definitely on the American League side. It's definitely the Yankees to lose. I
Yeah,
don't
pretty much.
I don't see the Guardians or the Tigers dethroning them. And with all that being said, you look at your boy Judge, he's not even having
Yeah, he's not even
good
hit the ball like he was during
postseason.
the regular
So
season. Yeah.
you get him hitting, it's really that was the thing that we were all worried about with the Yankees, was that the rest of the team was going to catch up to what he was doing, because we all knew if the rest of the team caught up to what he was doing, it was just almost no question they were a lock for the World Series. So that's what it looks like on the American League side. The National League side, I did mention when we talked about this before, I'm keeping my eye on the Mets, because ever since the All-Star break, they have been on a roll. Now, they weren't the number one team, because the number one team since the All-Star break was the San Diego Padres. And
Mm-hmm.
this battle royale, I think I'm going to tune into this game tonight. I've been holding out on baseball, actually watching full games, because my Orioles soured me away. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. My Orioles made me mad. I've been catching a few innings here and there, and of course reading up on it. But this Padres Dodgers game, I do believe that if the Mets if the Mets pull it off, I think the Mets can go to the World Series, because Padres Dodgers is such an emotional. I think it's going to wear them. It's going to wear both teams down. Now, if the Mets don't win, I got I got I got the Padres going. I got the Padres winning tonight in LA and going to the World Series.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I hear you. I just don't want a New York World Series. That'll just be
You don't want a Subway Series?
no.
When was the last Subway Series? Wasn't that in like
That
80?
was
What was
like,
that?
yeah, maybe early
80?
'90s.
Was it 90s or 80s?
No, no, no. It had to
It
be
was
'90s.
90s.
Yeah, because Piazza's on the Mets. Then uh Yankees, Mets World Series. World Series. I'm looking it up. 2000. Yeah. So yeah,
Oh, it
it
was
was.
we
Yeah.
both wrong.
Yeah, we both wrong. So yeah, 2000, 2000.
Okay,
And so
okay.
yeah. And so yeah, that's something I just don't want. That'll be so much overkill of that, and having to.
I, I won't really care. I won't really care, because I've moved on to football. How Belichick said,
You moved
we're
on.
moving on. We're moving on to football.
All
We're moving
right.
on to football.
All right. Well, let's
I
talk a
would
little.
say Cincinnati, but we moved through Cincinnati. We'll talk
Right,
about
right. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Let's go ahead and move to football then. The New York Jets, they got rid of Robert Saleh. He was fired on, I believe it was Tuesday, after the team's 2-3 start. Owner Woody Johnson moved him, made a move on Tuesday morning, firing him and naming defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich as the interim head coach. Salah, he did not necessarily do great there. A lot of people wanted him gone. Uh, his record was 20-36 in the several games. I mean, excuse me, several years that he was there. He has the worst record as a Jet head coach, at just a little bit ahead of Todd Bowles and Bruce Coslett. That loss, 23-17 loss to the undefeated Minnesota Vikings over in London, kind of sealed the fate. There was rumors about his relationship with Aaron Rodgers, that it
it.
wasn't
Hmm.
good, and of course, everybody's saying that Aaron Rodgers is really the person behind the scenes that's pulling the strings on this change. But they did not promote the offensive coordinator, who is Aaron Rodgers' boy, but instead they demoted him, and they're going to have someone else calling the plays come Monday night when they play the Bills. And so, just any quick thoughts about the Jets and Robert Saleh and Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Aaron Rodgers needs to take some accountability. If you watched any of that London game, he was missing passes. Like, he's not the Aaron Rodgers that he was. And he can sit here and mix it up any kind of way he wants to. The offensive coordinator probably should be gone also. I know that's his boy, but I think
Mm-hmm.
they threw the ball to Garrett Wilson like 21, 22 times, something like that. Like, the offense is just not clicking on that team. And the defense is doing everything they can just to hold on. So yeah, I thought it was a well-deserved firing anyway. I mean, look at his record. You know what I mean? Like, just well-deserved firing. So yeah, no real thoughts about them.
Okay. They did do a lot of retooling up there. They took half of the Ravens' offensive line up there, and they're getting canned up there. See, we knew. See, Lamar covers a multitude of sins in terms of sacks because he's able to avoid the pass rush, and
Mm-hmm.
he can get out there. A lot of times on those missed blocks, he's able to avoid the sack, and he can make a Morgan Moses and a John Simpson look credible. And they signed both of them, and I believe that they are having some of the worst seasons up there in New York. And so we'll see what happens with them on Monday when they play the Bills. And um, the Ravens are back, man. The Ravens are back. The Ravens are back. I believe that the Ravens was the only AFC North team to win on Sunday. Everyone
FC
else
North
lost.
went
Yep,
1-3.
1-3. The Ravens, they faced a big test. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about as we drill down into it. But if you didn't see, if you were under a rock last week, and I actually, it's so crazy. My wife, I had to take her to the airport. She was going out of town for a couple of days, so I did not get to see the game live. I was listening on the radio here or there. I got to see. We went out to eat before I dropped her off at the airport, so I did get to see some of it in the restaurant. But I didn't get to sit down and concentrate. But it was an outstanding game. The Ravens won in overtime, 41-38. Lamar was 26 for 42, 348 yards, 4 touchdowns. Joe Burrow on the other side, he was 30 for 39. Oh my goodness. 392 yards, 5 TDs, but one critical interception in the fourth quarter that gave the Ravens the opportunity to come back and tie the game. Um, our running back King Henry, 15 for carries for 92 yards, 1 touchdown. Of course, he had the crucial run in overtime that pretty much sealed the game that got us in field goal position. Zay Flowers, he had 7 receptions for 111 yards. Don't say I go this washed. Calvin, he was ready to put Justin Tucker. If you remember 2 weeks ago, he was ready to release Justin
I,
Tucker,
I,
y'all.
wa- I was not ready to
He
release
what?
them, but
Oh my God. Okay,
but
you know what?
but
I'm going to tape
let
it
me
and I'm
let
gonna
me
post
fin-
it.
let me finish my statement. I
Yeah,
wasn't
finish your
ready to
statement.
release them,
Finish your statement.
but I was looking on LinkedIn to see if there are any other kickers out there that might be available. I wasn't
Y'all,
ready to release them, but we was close.
I'm going
We
to
was
rewind.
close to
I'm
getting
going to
rid of them.
rewind the tape because I clearly remember him saying it was time for Tuck to
I
go.
did not. I said, "Is it time for him to
And
go?"
I was the only one saying you got to
And
dance with who brought you to the
I
dance. You got
even and I agree with you at the end. I was like, you know what, you are right.
right.
He does deserve the
He deserves
opportunity.
it.
I,
But you was ready. You was ready to cut bait. You already was
I was
calling people. You
I
always
was
you already
I
was
was
calling
looking
kickers.
I was looking in the directory to see who might be available just in case.
I
I'm not going front.
I goat ain't
I had
washed,
some
y'all.
doubts.
I go. Hey, I ain't gonna lie though. When they said it was 52 yards, I was kind of like, ooh,
Bruh, you and me
ooh,
both.
like,
I was sitting there like, oh no. But no, let me
ooh.
tell you, one of the things I said was no one's going to be ready to get rid of Justin Tucker until he misses a game winner. When they ran that ball to the 5 and Tuck had his shot, I was like, he got to make this. Like, I don't doubt he going to make that. But I was like, when they got the ball back in overtime, I was like, oh boy, we got to get close because I did
Right.
not
You
want it
ain't
to
want
get
that.
down.
You ain't want it over. You ain't want it over 40.
I did not want to be right. I
Yeah,
was like,
when
please
Henry
don't
took
make
that
me right.
run, that gallop, I was like, oh yeah, this is like a regular old field goal. This is like an extra point. Get on. As soon
It
as he
was
got down
it was
there,
close. It was like a 2-point conversion.
yeah, I was like, yeah, don't. I said, don't run no more plays. Kick it. Kick it.
Listen, and this is somebody we all hard on. Harbaugh had some horrible clock management at the end of
Yeah,
the
he did.
half, the first half, but
He's
he
too
redeemed
aggressive in wrong
himself.
spots.
Yeah, in the wrong. He's the reason why the Bengals caught up and took the lead. That damn aggression with under 2 minutes left. Then they get the ball back and throw a touchdown. I'm just like,
Mhm.
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that was a blown coverage, and we're gonna talk about the defense in a
Yeah,
minute.
but
That
they
was a
shouldn't
that
have
was a
even
blown
had the
coverage.
ball.
They shouldn't have
They
been in
shouldn't
that
have even had the
position,
ball. Right.
but your players got to execute too. And sometimes, like I said, he's too aggressive in some spots. Sometimes you would prefer that he take a more moderate approach. Like, I love that he's a person that doesn't mind going for it on fourth down and trying to do those things. Yeah, you got to go ahead and push the envelope, but sometimes his aggressiveness is just it hurts the team overall. And yeah, that was probably a situation where I would have loved to see them try to take more time off the clock than they did. And, it was a subpar punt. They get in good position. And then, the secondary has had it very rough the last several games. I mean, but we got to realize we've been playing top 10 quarterbacks for pretty much
And
the whole season.
you playing
Mahomes,
Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, you're playing two top five wide receivers. I mean, I want someone to name two better outside of Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Name two receivers in the AFC that are just as good as
you can't.
Higgins, and you can't,
Yeah, you
and
can't.
Chase. You can't
You
name them.
can't. A healthy T. Higgins at that.
Right,
Remember, he wasn't even healthy. A healthy T. Higgins.
right.
You,
You really can't do it. And um, so they've played Mahomes, they played Dak, they played Josh Allen, and they faced Joe Burrow. I mean, I would say they're at least in the top five or top six currently in the league right now. And
I'll
so,
give. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
you're not going to shut out these type of teams. You're not going to shut out these type of quarterbacks. Now with Buffalo, Buffalo really didn't got no receivers.
Right.
Most of their guys are possession guys. I think the thing that gives the Ravens fits is the long guys, the guys that can run the go patterns. That's where
The
they have
big receivers, the
big
big
receivers.
receivers.
They have a lot of
Yes,
problems with the ability to cover downfield 20, 30 yards. A little bit of problem for them, but outside of that, and they're facing a good test on Sunday versus Jason Daniels and the Commanders. What are your just thoughts on the defense? The defense, they brought in a consultant, Dean Pease, who won a Super Bowl as the defensive coordinator with the Ravens in their last Super Bowl appearance. And so, what are your thoughts about Zach Orr and our secondary?
so it really bothered me that they kept running these 6 DBs and they were getting torched. And it seemed like once they stopped running the 6 DBs every down, it started tightening up. Now, what I will say was that Bengals game was going back and forth. And somebody had to make the mistake, and I was hoping that it was not Lamar, and it was Joe. Joe led that ball, and he didn't necessarily make a mistake. Marlon just probably got tired of getting fired up, and he went and jumped that route and got that touchdown, and that
Right.
was the mistake we needed. But then we made the mistake with the fumble on the snap. But no, the defense overall, man, somehow they're still a top 10 defense. I think it's because of the run defense.
Yeah, it's the run
Um,
defense. Run defense, I think, is number one or two
yeah,
in
they
yards
just
allowed.
I'm just so it's definitely not the defense from last year. It's definitely not last year. It's not Mike McDonald's defense. But all they got to do is hold on, and that's what they've been doing. Now, those first 2 games, I mean, they actually really didn't do bad the first 2 games. We needed one more play on offense, and they did give up. Let me back up. That Raiders game, they did give up points at the end of in the second half, so they
Right.
lost that game.
Right.
But I mean, jury's still out on the Ravens defense. I don't really have much of an opinion. I need a pass rush. They had no pass rush against Joe Burrow Sunday. Um, it felt like it, and I don't know what the numbers are, but it felt like they had really no pass rush against Joe Burrow. So they need a pass rush. They got to get in there. I don't know if Ngakwe actually played Sunday. I
Yeah,
know they
he
had
did.
signed him to the practice
There was
squad.
something on
Did he
Twitter
move
that
up?
he posted something on Twitter. He got a couple snaps, got some
Okay,
pressures.
okay.
Mhm. Yeah. So
Yeah, I need that pass rush. I think that pass rush would do a lot for them. You know what I mean? It just does a lot for them. That's what they had against the Bills. They had a pass rush on Josh Allen, and it kept Josh moving. You know, even though he's good moving, he wasn't that good. He threw one touchdown on the move. So
sure.
they got to get a pass rush in there.
Ravens, they are tied atop of the AFC North with the Steelers. Steelers have lost two straight over the last couple weeks. The
Ravens got the
Browns,
tiebreaker, common opponent.
yeah, I
Dallas
understand.
Cowboys.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Common opponent. Yeah. So I mean, as a tiebreaker, they're both 3-2, but they have the tiebreaker. The Browns, they're 1-4 and steadily going down. They've lost three in a row. There's rumblings there in Cleveland about getting rid of Deshaun Watson. The city is calling for Winston, Jameis
Jameis.
Winston, and
Eat the
the
W's.
Bing, right, eating W's. And the Bengals, although they have I think they're in the top five in terms of offense. Their defense is in the lower half of the league. They're 1-4. Is Cincinnati basically dead?
Yeah, it's over. It's
You
over for
think it's over?
Cincinnati.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know they like to hang on that. They come back, and the AFC North seems to have that thing where the bottom teams, the Steelers have done it a couple seasons, the Bengals have done it a few times. I know they like to have that thing, but they are actually 1-4 in a division with the Ravens, in a division with the Steelers. Yeah, they're done. I mean, it's done for them. Their playoffs hope are done. Now, if they do make the wild card somehow, that's going to be just because of the parity in the AFC. But I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening for them.
Okay. Right now, we have two undefeated teams in the league: the Chiefs and the Vikings. Who do you think will lose their first game between those two?
I've been betting against the Chiefs all season long, and they still find a way to come out of it. The Chiefs, they're both on a bye week. I don't know who they are coming out and playing next week, so I would have to see that before. But I'm hoping. Popular opinion would say the Vikings will fall first, but most of us want the Chiefs to fall first. So I don't know. I have to see the schedule after next week, their bye week.
The Chiefs coming off the bye, they play the 49ers. And the Vikings coming off the bye play Detroit. So two very tough games.
Ooh, definitely Vikings are falling. 49ers can be shaky. They almost gave it up last night. 49ers can be shaky, so the Chiefs may win there. I'm gonna say the Vikings are gonna fall to Detroit. What times are the games? What times are the games?
The Chiefs Niners game that is in Santa Clara, and that's a 4:25 game, and the Lions Vikes game is a 1 o'clock game in Minnesota.
Vikings are falling first.
Okay, all right,
Because they play earlier.
all right. Yeah, that's the only reason why you say.
Yeah, they play early.
Great logic, y'all. This is our chief sports better. So you know he knows. He knows. He knows. Man, let's go over some of these week 6 picks. Right now, Calvin and I are tied in the picks. Calvin, he had two
Stop the
back-to-back weeks.
steal.
This mess. He had 2 good weeks, y'all, and now he think he should be ahead of me, but I didn't completely fall off the mat. He had 2 good weeks of 10 correct picks back to back, but your boy still stayed up in there. I had 8 correct picks on week 4, and I had 9 correct picks on week 5. And so yeah, we tied up, but I'm about to, cream rises to the top. So I'm about to go ahead and take this.
First of all, Garland is cheating anyway, because I said this week, Garland, let's do the picks early. So we did the picks early, but Garland was like, I can't do them right now. Let me talk to God first. Like, Garland. So it's me against God and Garland. How does that sound, y'all? How does that sound, y'all? Garland out here cheating. He got the Holy Father with his picks. And how am I supposed to win?
I was like, yeah, hey, man, I need to talk to God about these picks. Honestly, I was getting ready to drive to the office. I was like, this will hold him for a minute. I was like, I need to talk to God about this.
Cheating. You know, God know, yo. So,
God told
if
me.
listen, y'all, if Garland come back here perfect next week, I'm not playing no more.
I already started off right with the Niners, and so did you. And so we both picked the Niners last night, and they went out and won that game. And so Calvin's taking the Jags over the Bears. I'm taking the Bears. We're both taking the Packers over the Cardinals. Cardinals are visiting up in Green Bay. We both took the Colts over the Titans. The Colts are the away team visiting Tennessee. We're both taking the away team, the Bucks, over the Saints. They're playing up in New Orleans, and we're praying for those down in Tampa and just across the state of Florida and the horrific Hurricane Milton that just happened. And so, praying for those people, and if you can, try to donate to Red Cross or whatever you can do to help that cause. The Browns, they're in Philly to play the Eagles, and we both took the Eagles over the Browns. The Chargers, they go up to Denver. Denver's been playing very well. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They will face the Broncos. We both take the Chargers over the Broncos. The Steelers, they're in Vegas taking on the Raiders. The Raiders just in disarray. Devontae Adams, he got one of those hamstrings because he wants to be traded. So he's not playing. The quarterback sucks. Although I know you said that your boy, you wanted Antonio to get that job. Antonio, maybe he's not ready for that job. And
I ain't say
Antonio
he
seemed
should
like he
keep it.
still want to. Yeah, Antonio Pierce seemed like he still want to play. He want to get out there and fight players. He's still aggressive, like he's still playing.
Antonio coaching like he coaching some Pee Wee League ball.
Right,
He benching folks. He
right.
benching the best players. Like,
He
yo,
going up slapping the
please,
football out of
God.
people's hands. You know, giving them wedgies and whatnot. Yeah, he up here trying to intimidate people. But so we're both taking the Steelers over the Raiders. The Lions, they're in Dallas to play the Cowboys. To kind of rematch that crazy game last year where they had the eligible offensive lineman, but the referee didn't call it correctly. We're both taking the Lions over the Cowboys. Falcons, they're down in Carolina to get some chopped beef, some chopped pork, and they're getting some collards while they're down there, and they're going to win over the Panthers. We both take the Falcons over the Panthers. We split on Bengals Giants. I think Calvin, this pick is a hate pick. He's taking the Giants. That's really a hate pick.
Actually, it's not.
Okay.
Daniel Jones has been playing a lot better. They got the backup running back in who rushed for over 100 yards last week, and Montgomery may be healthy, so he may come back in, but they'll give him more time.
Are they gonna
Watch
be able
out
to
for
go blow
watch
for
out for
blow?
Neighbors. Neighbors is doing well.
Okay.
Slayton is starting to come back on,
Mhm.
and the Bengals. It's more that the Bengals
Mhm.
defense is horrible. Their secondary is horrible.
Yeah, but
Um,
Daniel Jones.
he's not. I'm trying to tell you, he's not playing that bad this season.
Okay. All right.
He's
All right.
not playing
Well,
that
hey,
bad.
God told me Bengals, and so I'm taking the Bengals, and Calvin's taking the Giants. The Texans, they are in New England to take on the Patriots. We both taking the Texans in that game. The home team, big test on Sunday. All the games are tests. The Ravens will be taking on the Commanders. Upstart Jaden Daniels. Everybody wants to compare him to Lamar. Oh, he's Lamar with an arm. This, that, and the others. Scary Terry McLaurin. He's having a good season. Offensive line, they got that offense under Kingsbury, Calvin's boy, Cliff Kingsbury. They're clicking. They're clicking. Their defense is not all that great, but of course we're both taking the home team. Ravens at home. I think this kind of reminds me of the matchup with the Bills. I think this is a good match for the Ravens secondary because I don't think the Commanders have a run game you have to really respect.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a. I
I mean, now I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout. I'm not saying it's going to be like
no
the
no. I'm
score of the Bills game, but
I'm
Ravens by
actually leaning that
6.
way. I'm
You
actually
think it's going
leaning
to be
that
that?
way.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Commanders are an upstart team. Jaden
Mm-hmm.
Daniels is the real deal. I
He
will
is.
admit that. But they've played the Browns. They've played um,
Bengals,
Bengals. They've played
Giants.
teams that are not the caliber of Baltimore Ravens, and this is a road game for them. You know, yeah, I just I'm Ravens. I see the Ravens slightly dominating this game. Because of the Ravens defense, the score may not exactly show it, but I don't think Lamar will have any problems scoring. And I think the defense just needs to, make a few plays here and there, which I think they'll do. Terry is kind of scary, but he's not really that scary. He didn't really come on until last week. He's had some decent games, but his breakout
He
game
didn't
for the
come on to
season
last
was
week.
last.
You didn't see that
His
Bengals game?
his breakout game
Okay.
was okay. All
All right,
right.
I give
I
that.
actually do, but I actually do. I will say to you that I actually do think their running game might be slightly better than the Bills' running game. I like Austin Eckler and Brian
Is he back? I
Robinson.
know he had the
Yeah.
concussion in
Eckler
the
came back
Bengals game.
last week.
Okay.
He came back
All right.
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, now they've played. They beat. Oh, excuse me. They lost to the Buccaneers to open up the season,
Hmm.
37-20 down in Tampa. They lost. Excuse me. They beat the Giants 21-18. They beat the Bengals 38-33. The Cardinals 42-14. They dominated them, and they dominated the Browns 34-13. And so,
Hmm.
Cardinals, they have a pretty potent offense, and that was a Cardinals can Lil Man has been putting up some points this year, and so
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
a
a
real good game.
Kingsbury. That was a Kingsbury revenge game,
Yeah,
though. It
yeah,
was a
yeah.
he was definitely going to scheme that one up
Hmm.
to stop the little guy.
Yeah. All right, and so let's go ahead and the last pick is the Monday night game. The Bills they'll be going down to Jersey to play the Jets. I'm taking the Bills. You didn't take a team on your text. Who you taking
I
in
didn't.
that game?
Oh,
You know what? You may have taken the Bills. I don't know.
you sure? I think I took the Bills. I think I was leaning. I wanted to take the Jets with the coaching change, that likes to
Hmm.
hype people up. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers has that magic, though. So if I didn't take anybody, it's the Bills. If I did write down the Jets, I'll stick with it. But I think
Okay.
I'm going to take the
I want
Bills.
you to be right. I want you to know what you're picking because I do not want to hear anything
Let me take a
from
look. Let me
you.
take a look and see if I sent you anything for
Yeah,
that.
look at your phone real
No, my
quick.
last pick was the Ravens. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, I got the Bills in front of the Ravens. I put the
Okay.
Bills in
All
front
right.
of the
So
Ravens. If
I
you
missed
look
that.
at it, yeah.
All right. All right. So yeah. So those are our picks, and so next week, hopefully, we'll be back. We'll review them. All right. Let's go ahead and transition to a little WNBA. Calvin's our WNBA expert, and the Lynx they tied the largest WNBA Finals comeback in a Game One win versus the Liberty last night. Two-time Finals MVP Breonna Stewart missed a driving layup in overtime at the Barclays. And it's one of the most thrilling WNBA playoff games in recent memory as the number two seeded Minnesota Lynx overcame a 18-point deficit and a 15-point deficit with 5:20 to go to take game one in the finals 95-93 in overtime. Courtney Williams, she was one of the players that really led the team back, hitting some very important threes. Minnesota, they're 4-1 against New York this year, and is 2 wins away
Hmm.
from clinching its first championship since 2017, and it would be their fifth overall. I don't think a lot of people know that there is a legacy in Minnesota when they had Maya Moore. They were winning
Hmm.
championships, and so just any of your thoughts about. I don't know if you got a peek at last night's game or what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts actually go to the Las Vegas Aces, who were going for the three-peat, the coveted three-peat
Sure.
that's only been done one time by the Houston Comets, and they were not able to accomplish that. And it was very disappointing for a lot of Vegas fans, and it was actually disappointing for a lot of WNBA fans because they wanted to see that. The New York Liberty do not have a championship with the legacy that they've had throughout the WNBA. So this will be their first one, and dropping that first game in front of Ellie the Elephant is very disappointing for them.
Right, Ellie.
Their back, their back is against the wall. Um, no, I think this is going to. I think the series last night. I believe Brianna Stewart also missed a free throw, went one or
Yeah,
two
she
on the
missed a
free throw
three
or something like
throw that
that.
would have
Yeah,
gave them the game in regulation. So yeah.
and she's one of the best players to ever grace the WNBA. So I don't think they'll have a problem coming back, but I think they're going to have a battle with Minnesota. Minnesota's not there just for show. So we'll see how these next two games go out. Well, it could go five, but we'll see how it works. It needs to go at least four for the Liberty.
Yeah, the Aces, they really missed Chelsea Gray. She was out injured to start the season. Didn't play much going into the break, and then you had the Olympics. I think this year you had a lot of teams limping to the finish in terms of because you
Hmm.
had that abbreviated season where they were off for a month and some change because of the Olympics. I think a lot of their squad, they had one of the squads that had the most players in Paris, and so a couple of those squads did not last through the playoffs. I think Seattle was another team that people were expecting a little bit more in the playoffs. They had a lot of players in Paris as well. And so those teams that sent a lot of players to the Olympics, they did not really get to the finals, although you have Stewart and Ionescu with New York that are there. And so we'll see what happens. Great series. I did watch the Connecticut Sun and Lynx game on, I think it was Tuesday night. I watched some of that, and that was just very exciting. A lot of great shooting. Minnesota has some great guards, and they can fill it up. So this is going to be a good series.
Shout out to the WNBA. They came into the season with a lot of hype, of course, with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. A lot of hype going on into it, a lot of controversy, and they've actually they lived up to the expectations. We'll see how this final series ends, but they've had a lot of exciting games, a lot of great matchups, a lot of social media clips that you wouldn't have expected. So shout out to them. I ain't seen no dunks this year though. Get,
Right.
get
Ain't
some of
gonna
them
be no
dunks
dunks.
going.
Ain't gonna be no dunks unless they jump off a ladder. All
They
right.
dunk. They dunk. What's her name was dunking? Brittany was dunking. Griner was dunking a few times. Not this year, but
Anyway. Uh, hey man, we got top 10 for y'all. Top 10, and you may have seen this. I got this on social media. Top 10 white songs that black people love. And so Calvin, he is the resident white music expert. When we used to do our verses back during the pandemic, we had a yacht rock contest of, that was one of our verses was yacht rock, and he just destroyed me. I thought because of my 2 years at a majority white high school, that gave me enough ammunition to be able to withstand the test, but it didn't. And so when I suggested this to Calvin, it was right up his alley. He was like, "Oh yeah, white songs. I know those songs." And so we both got some songs, and so I'm gonna go with my first one,
okay.
Roxanne by the Police. What
Okay.
black people love Roxanne. They love Sting, and it's that bass, and that as a matter of fact, it was sampled by Cameron for one of his first songs, "What Means the World to You." And so yeah, Roxanne by the Police, man. Black people love that song.
Eddie Murphy actually sang that in 48 Hours
Yeah,
also
40.
when he was in jail.
Roxanne, Roxanne, you don't have to
I
do
will say that it's not my favorite Police song. I think black people of our generation like the Police. Every Breath You Take, which I think is probably their biggest
Yeah,
song.
yeah, that's
That's
their
my favorite.
biggest song. But I'm
That's my
talking about
favorite Police song. That's
Roxanne was kind of like their first joint. I mean,
yeah, yeah,
Roxanne
it
kind of
was.
was
It
like
was.
the thing that put them on the map. I had to be at least in the eighth or ninth grade when Roxanne came out. And so, yeah.
Let me drop one that I was shocked because I did see the clip of the TikTok that the podcast did. What's his name? Kevin on
Yeah,
stage
Kevin on
did.
stage.
Let me drop one that I was shocked that they didn't make. This one is a song that I don't know about black guys, but black women, especially in our generation, love this song. Let me drop on you a Cyndi Lauper time after time. If
Really?
you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. And then the part, if you fall, I will catch you. I will be waiting. Time after time. What? I was so disappointed that they did not have Cyndi Lauper time after time. Black
Bro,
women love that song.
did
Love it.
you have the Gumby flat top when that song was out? Did you have like the Bobby Brown?
I had to not when that was out because that came out a little before that, but I had the Bobby Brown my senior year of high school. Don't sleep on me. I got a couple pictures with my little
Every
girl.
little tap I take.
They actually told me I looked like Bobby Brown back then. I'm not even on front.
Every
I
little
used to.
tap
That was
I
before I
take.
had the Gumby. A lot of them was like,
Right.
"You look like Bobby Brown." I still look like Bobby Brown because we both big black dudes right now.
Right. Bobby breathing heavy, you breathing heavy. They had to them dance.
Absolutely. We
Oh my God.
doing the bare minimum on stage to dance.
Hey man, they mentioned a Queen song, but the Queen song they did not mention that black people love is Another One Bites the Dust.
Another one bites the
The
dust.
dust.
Mm,
Another one
mm,
bites it. It's that
mm.
bass line.
Another one
Boom,
bites the
boom,
dust. And another
boom,
one
boom,
gone,
boom,
and
boom,
another one gone.
boom.
Another one
Another one
bites the
bites the
dust.
dust.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, it's gonna get you too. Another one. Yeah, they had a lot of hits and all. They mentioned Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know
they
any
did.
black people going around singing
I don't
Bohemian
either.
Rhapsody,
I
but
don't either.
Another One Bites the Dust. That had that bass line. You know, we love something with some deep bass, and so yeah, Another One Bites the Dust by Queen.
Now I had to because I'm entrenched in this white 80s 90s stuff. I had to make sure that I was thinking of songs that black people like and not just I like, which was kind of
Mm-hmm.
hard, which was kind of hard.
Sure.
But I think this one is more 90s, and they gave us a little bit of grunge, Kurt Cobain, Smells Like Teen Spirit. But in that same vein, I'm Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
living on a prayer.
living on a prayer. What? What?
Yeah, we love that.
Black people will sing that song at games and everywhere they can when that comes on. Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer.
Oh, halfway there.
Oh, living on a
halfway
prayer.
there. Yeah, about to go deep into that right there. I have this song, and you probably don't know this because it's a little bit before your time. But the Rolling Stones, they had a song. It was called "Miss You."
Uh-huh. I'm down. I'm down. I'm
Black
down.
people love that song in my generation. It was like a little honky tonk blues joint. Mick Jagger talking about there's some fine Puerto Rican girls that is down to meet you. So bring a case of wine. We're gonna party like we used to. Yeah, that was the jam back in the day. Miss You, the Rolling Stones. That's the only Rolling Stone song I know.
I was about to say
And
I'm not a
me either.
huge Rolling Stones fan. I'm
Hey,
of course
if it
Mick
was life
Jagger,
and
Keith
death,
Richards,
yeah, if it was life and death, and I had to give that catalog, I'm dead. This is the only Rolling Stone song I know. All right, and so Miss You, Rolling Stone.
So now, in my entrenchedness in the white music, I
Mm-hmm.
also had to remember this category is just white songs that black people like.
Right.
So I had to bring it to our genre and throw out my Beastie Boys, Paul Revere. Now, here's a little story I got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well.
Well,
It started way back in history with that bro, MCA and me, Mike D. Zoop, 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 zoop. What? Paul Revere. Me and Jay was actually talking about that song not too long ago. Paul Revere was that's my favorite Beastie Boys song. But Beastie Boys in general, Black People Like Beastie Boys.
That was a great album, as a matter of fact.
License
Yeah,
to Ill? What?
License to Ill. Great
You
album.
know, when we talked about albums, I made that my top 5 rap album, one of my top 5 rap albums of all time.
Yeah, great album. Now this is another older, for probably my age group, white song that black people love. Hold on. Benny and the Jets, baby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we love Benny and the Jets. As a
We
matter
love
of
Elton
fact,
John.
we love Elton John. Not too many Elton John songs. You might know maybe one other, but Benny and the Jets. Black people love Benny and the Jets. I knew someone, I think she was my next door neighbor. She had that album and she used to play it all the time. Yeah, so yeah, Benny and the Jets, Elton John.
All right, let me give you one that is a modern day one. It's today. And not only is this one of the baddest white songs out, this song was at the was it the Spirit Award? It was one of these black award show that they played this song, and the guy was in the audience, and they had to let him sing it. Chris Stapleton and Tennessee Whiskey. Are you kidding me? You know what Tennessee Whiskey is?
I don't.
Let me. You go ahead and give your next one, and let me drop this Tennessee Whiskey for you.
All right. This is a fairly recent one that black women love. Rolling Deep, Adele.
Yes, we love Adele.
Yeah, we love Adele, and yeah, Rolling Deep. Yeah, we love Rolling Deep, and so yeah, that come on, boy, like. Rolling in the deep.
Let me drop this Tennessee Whiskey for you. I don't even know how you don't know this. Any band you go to now, they play this. You haven't heard this?
Black people love this song.
Love this song. What?
I need to go to some honky tonk bars or something.
Listen,
they play this at Texas Roadhouse?
They play this everywhere.
That's about as honky tonk.
It's honky tonk, and it's old.
Okay.
I don't even know how you. It's old, like a few years old. Anyway, let me get to my next song. I'm shocked. I'm shocked you don't know Tennessee Whiskey. All right, now this white song, I don't even think black people know who sing it, but we've heard it so much that I think everybody know it. It's by a group called Aha. You know what the song I'm talking about?
Take on Me.
Take on me, take on me, take me on. Yeah, take on me.
Then they had the video. It was it a cartoon or something?
It was like a cartoon. He was a black and white drawn, and then he would go and the girl would grab
him. And yeah.
Yep. Take on me.
Take on me. This song now, this person, he ain't white, but we could go ahead and make him white because I think he's just mainly for the white audiences. Bruno Mars, Uptown Funk. We love Uptown Funk. Uptown Funk gonna get to you. Uptown Funk gonna get to you.
Bruno Mars ain't white, man. Leave that man alone.
Mars ain't. I thought Bruno Mars was white.
Nah, he might be half white. I think he's Latin. Bruno Mars is Latin.
He's something.
He Latin. He's something.
He ain't us. I know black people love Uptown Funk because it's a white song. You ain't never gonna turn on WPGC or WWIN to hear Uptown Funk.
Let me give you. I'm gonna give you one more song. Let me give a shout out to a few groups that white people like, or a few artists that black people like. That I don't have on here because Kevin on Stage. Kevin on Stage dropped my Journey. Journey is my favorite
Yeah,
group
of
of all
course we got
time.
Journey.
So
Yeah, don't stop
yeah,
believing.
well, they had Don't Stop Believing. I'm all in shit, I forgot the song, but it ain't Don't Stop Believing. It's another one. Let me drop Hall and Oates on you, because black people, we love some Hall and Oates. We actually love some NSYNC, more Justin Timberlake, but we love some NSYNC. Who else did I have on that list that I wanted to? I think that was all, but let me give you my last one.
Okay.
I don't even know if you know this one. This is an old one, and I was torn to think. I was like, is this a me song or is this an everybody song? Let me see if I can. I'ma play it here and see if you've ever heard it before. Let me see. Here we go. All right.
Turn around.
Every now and then I get a little bit going and you never come around. That is Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Black people love this song. We love Total Eclipse of the Heart. Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. That'll be my last entry.
My last one. Of course, I had the B.G.s on here, but the B.G.s is kind of black to us.
But we love the B.G.s.
We love the B.G.s. You should be dancing. I had the Play That Funky Music, White Boy by the Average White Band. That's a song, white song that black people. Well, that was really a funk song, so I don't even think white people knew that song. And of course, Michael McDonald, What a Fool Believes.
Of course, Michael McDonald.
You gotta put your mouth on the mic like that.
If we ain't love Michael McDonald, then we loved him when he was with Patti LaBelle.
Right. And you gotta love the Doobies.
Gotta love the Doobies.
I'm like, Rerun, give that.
I was about to say Rerun almost. Yeah, man. Rerun was trying to bootleg they shit.
You was like, they look like, oh, Rerun. You up in here bootlegging our concert. Oh. 70s TV. All right. Well, y'all, we've come to the end of the program and a point that we all know and love. Come on, you. You got one, yo?
I do. And I'm gonna actually change mine real quick.
Okay.
My entry ain't gonna be called Come On Yo. It's gonna be called Come Through Sis. Last night there was a debate between Angela Brooks and Larry Hogan. Why you would like Larry Hogan if you live in Baltimore City, I have no idea, but you do what you do. He hates Baltimore City. But Angela Brooks ended him. She came out there with it just
in her hand. She just went off on him.
There was one segment that she said, and she was like, how can you even trust him? When he had the chance to vote, he voted for dead people.
Yep, he sure did.
He wouldn't even stand up to his own party and vote Democratic. He voted for a dead man. She was laying, come through, sis. Come through, Angela.
I know he was like,
what could he say? If you looked at his face, he had that little dumbass.
Right.
Had that little dumbass look on his face. Come through, sis. I hope she ended his career with that one, because she definitely shut everything else down in the debate. He would not. How can he be a senator and not even vote for the president? If he even said that I don't align with Trump, if you don't agree with Trump and you think he's hurt, why wouldn't you vote for the next candidate? Because you're still aligning party, because you are a liar. Larry Hogan, we all know that you're a Trump supporter. You just want us to believe that you're not a Trump supporter. You're just one of the ones that don't necessarily agree with everything he says, but you still align with him. And you just won't admit that you align with him. How are you going to vote for a dead man? A dead man. And then said in this vote, he would do the same thing. And she called him on it. There was literally nothing he could say. Come through, sis. So my
Yeah,
come on, yo, is a come through, sis, to Angela also Brooks. Come through, sis. Come on through.
yeah. I think a lot of people forgot that. I was hoping she would do a political ad on that. That he gave his vote to Ronald Reagan in the last
Ronald
president. In the last
fucking
president. Yeah,
Reagan.
that even speaks volumes of which dead man you giving your vote to. A man that hated black people, Ronald Reagan. And
Exactly.
so, wow. Yeah, I did catch a piece of it. I mean, I don't know how many of us watched it because Family Feud was on at the same time, and so black people, we got priorities, and so I think a rerun of Family Feud and the Brown family was on, so it was you had to make a major decision there, Calvin, and
Yeah, it's a U.S. Senate race. It's a U.S. Senate
yeah.
debate, and a lot of us nationwide aren't really interested in this. I think this is very important for the state of Maryland because
Oh, it's very
of
important.
who's
It's
running.
important for the
Yeah,
country because we need to have a Democratic majority. We
we
can't let the
definitely do.
Congress swing to a Republican majority, and
And
so
we
yeah,
definitely don't want someone like Larry Hogan representing us in the Senate
yeah. I
because
mean, he hates Baltimore. I always say he kept a
exactly,
turd in his butt for Baltimore.
exactly.
He loved to shit on Baltimore whenever he got an opportunity.
Oh, and if you
Yeah,
didn't
and
know it, the
he
red
took
line
it.
proved it to you right then
Yeah,
and there.
that I worked for a state agency when I was when Hogan was the governor, and we had a program where it really fed into him pandering to his base of tearing down the city. And he would come to some of these events and he would get into the bulldozer. And, they were taking pictures of him. And I was like, wow, this imagery of this man tearing down the city. Although, yeah, he
Hmm.
was allegedly trying to help rebuild by tearing down. Just that
But
imagery
he
that,
was
I'm in
he
charge
liked
and
to
I'm tearing
build
down the
jails and
city.
detention centers. He liked
Well,
to
he liked to do that, and he liked to build highways for people to, get to suburbs, and he liked to tear down houses in the city.
yeah, just
That's what he liked to do. And so,
fuck
yo,
you, Larry Hogan.
that's enough right there. So come through, sis. Come on, yo. Yeah, for real. So, yo, I hope you enjoyed the show. Hopefully, we
You
will
ain't
be
have a come
back.
on, yo.
No, that was good enough. You shut it down.
Oh well, then let me get a second one in there. Let me get a second
Oh,
one
oh,
in there.
oh, oh.
This for my
Far be it
this
from me to
one
stop you.
is for my guy Garland,
Oh,
and we kind of touched on
I was
this
trying to
before.
hurry up and get off because I knew I was coming. I knew I was coming.
No, this for you. This ain't about you. This
Oh,
for
okay.
you. This for
All
you.
right. All
Yeah,
right. Let me
this
listen.
for you. And let me just just for my guy
Let
Garland.
me
We
put
kind
on
of
the
hit
whole
on it.
earphone so I can hear. Go
We
ahead.
hit on it before, but come on, yo. Come on, Baltimore Oriole fans. Y'all sat there through that whole wild card and was sitting there like, I don't know what he doing. What is Hyde doing? What Hyde cannot manage the team, make the changes, and hit the ball at the same time. I ain't hear y'all calling out y'all boy Gunner. I ain't hear nobody saying, damn, Gunner, why Gunner need to be cut. I ain't
Why
hear
you
nobody
swinging at
saying,
everything, Gunner?
exactly. I ain't hear nobody saying, well, why don't we bring in our boy? What's our boy name? The young boy. I don't even because he ain't see no
Oh,
playing
Holiday.
time. And why don't we bring in Holiday? He can play shortstop too. Let him get a swing because Gunner ain't doing shit. Y'all ain't say nothing about Rushman. Rushman was barely doing anything there. But y'all wanted to
No.
blame Hyde. Now again, I'm not saying Hyde is the best for the team, but I hate sports fans that jump on a narrative and keep riding that narrative through and through without actually looking. You literally could look. The Royals scored 3 runs in the entire series. If I told you any team scored 3 runs in 2 games in a wild card series, you would know automatically that that's the team that lost. In this case, that was the team that won because the Orioles scored 0 and 1. There's no reason for you to be calling for Hyde's job when you need to be sitting there in the stands yelling at your players. It wasn't Hyde's fault. Now, again, I don't think he should be, he's not completely exonerated. But in those 2 games, you were calling for the wrong head. Pause. But you were calling for the wrong person to be cut. You needed to look at some of your all-stars on there, except for Cedric Mullins. Cedric, you did your thing out there, sir.
I
But
will say this though, the excuses stop now. Yeah, okay, we can let them slide for this one. We let them slide for the first one. Oh, you
well,
guys
I
wasn't
don't.
supposed to be there. You got this
Yeah, I don't know
year.
if we're gonna
We
let them
kind of
slide.
expected you. We kind of expected you to be there. You got there, and your team didn't produce. And the second game, you were just, it was like the participation game. You were searching for something. You pitched everybody. Thank God it didn't go a third game
But they
because
still
I
only
don't know
scored
who
two
would have
runs.
pitched. I don't
They
know who
still
would have
only scored
pitched.
2 runs.
Who
He
would have been
trotted
available
everybody
for a
out there.
third? Who would have been available for the third game? That's
Jackson
my question.
Holiday. Jackson.
No, I'm talking about
Jackson.
pitchers.
No,
He
me too.
pitched
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, I'm talking about Jackson also. Jackson Holiday. He could have pitched the third game.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I mean, it was just a combination of things. Yeah, should you fire Hyde? No, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think he's the person to get you to the next level. But I don't pin this loss on him. I just pin it on that they stopped hitting the
Yeah.
ball. And,
And
and,
this
and you and their approach. I think it's the organization approach to hitting. They're going to have to look at that because this is a free swinging team. This is a team built to hit home runs, and the teams that are surviving right now are not necessarily powered by home runs. They're powered by base hitters.
and the team that does have the power, the Yankees, you can see that their power hitter is not doing so well in
Right.
the
And you
postseason.
see that they're struggling. They're barely putting up
Yeah.
runs.
It's one of them things where it looked like the beginning of the season, the Orioles were on top of it. But as the season came and wore them down and wore on, the bats just stopped. Now, again, this Come On Yo is not about the Orioles. It's about the fans and who you immediately blame when you're frustrated. Like when you're sitting there and you're frustrated and you're just looking for somebody to blame. You're not blaming the guy that's literally striking out. Like you're not blaming the guy that's striking out every time. So Hyde would bring in another pitcher and they yelling at Hyde. And I'm like, well, Santana just popped up to the infield with bases loaded. Why are you mad at Brandon? Like, why are you mad at Brandon? He's the wrong guy to be mad at the moment. So come on, yo. Come on, Orioles fans. I want us to be more intelligent about what we complain about during the game. Then when the game is over, okay, then we can evaluate everything. But in the moment, gotta be a little smarter about who we're yelling at and who we're upset with.
All right, last word.
Hey, another good show. This will drop, I guess Saturday. I can drop it tomorrow. The landlord ain't coming over till later, so I can drop it.
Check
tomorrow
with him first. That little he run this. We ain't got no sponsor, but we ran by our producer is the landlord.
You can catch us on all the podcast platforms. If you have Spotify, you can see us donned out in our Ravens gear. And we are live on YouTube, so you can catch us on the YouTube channel. That'll actually be up tonight because that is always up. And go Ravens. Hey man, we gotta keep it going. The Ravens are looking good. Garland said they're back.
They're back.
I'm gonna hold out. Oh, one thing we didn't mention, Garland. You were talking about it before we got on. Was the play that Lamar made? That talking about this might be the
man. I just seen that play 50, 11 times. I mean,
I'm tired. I'm glad because I'm tired of seeing the other Cincinnati play where he runs and does the spin in the middle.
Right, you tired of seeing that one too?
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing that play. So
he owns Cincinnati.
What is it? 9-1, 8-1. When he was hurt, Cincinnati was talking a lot of shit. Yeah, we'd beat y'all 2-3 times in a row. Yeah, because that's without Lamar.
Hey man, I got a friend on Facebook. He's a Cincinnati fan and went to college with him. Are you all right? You are, when Baltimore, you all right over there, bro? Okay, I did. Hey, bro, I ain't heard from you. I didn't checked on you. Ain't no way we're gonna lose to a quarterback with frosted tips. I mean, what's going on?
He should be on the shot.
I sent him the clip of Lamar when he was in the restaurant and the white lady was all talking about, who they. Bro ain't he ain't responded to me, Calvin. He ignored me. So I'm like, wow. Now, if y'all won, I'd have heard from you all week.
Exactly.
But
What's his name was at the game and did a small video. What's the guy named Kick Stay Trippy? What's his?
I saw.
You saw his video. He at halftime they was giving him shit at the end of the game. He was like, y'all real quiet.
What's going on? Yeah. He couldn't do that in Cleveland though, because he would have gotten. They would have fought him. I almost got beat up in Cleveland just going to the bathroom. So he wouldn't have did that in Cleveland. He did it in the right city.
I got a homeboy that told me he wanted to come up for the Redskins game, the Commanders game, but his homeboy from Minnesota told him that they tried to rob him at Baltimore where he came. I said, first of all, Minnesota ain't been here in a few years. He said, yeah, it was a few years ago. I was like, well, where they try to rob him at? He said he went to the 7-Eleven in the hood with his Minnesota stuff on. Sir, I don't even go to the 7-Eleven in the hood with my Ravens stuff on. Bro. You see them sitting outside. That's on you. He walked into his own trouble. Don't put that on us.
There are gas stations I don't go to. I'll be on E. I'll be like, I'll push this down the street to the next gas station.
Don't put that on us. I shouldn't lie. We went to the bar the other day and the niggas was out, but I needed to get some peach crown rolls, so I pulled up. The wife was like, Katina was like, whoa, you sure? I was like, yeah, fuck them niggas. I need this crown roll. So I went in there. I mean, I ain't had no issues. I mean, it was plus I said, you know, they weren't the 20-somethings. They were like 30 and 40-year-old, just, you know. Hey, I was like, I ain't bothering nobody.
They look at you like you their uncle. Hey, OG.
Yeah, man. The 20-something-year-old niggas, they be like, fuck is this nigga for? Right. You know what I mean? Yo, hey, you want to buy me something? Right. What the fuck is this nigga?
You got my Newports?
Yeah. Katina was like, yeah, sure. It had to be about 30 or 40 about that. Right next to you, I don't know if I think you went to the cigar place. I don't even know if they still open anymore. Right on Reisterstown and Rogers, the cigar place that was there.
No. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I've never been there before.
But it's a bar like going down towards the DMV or MVA rather. It's a bar exactly going down there. Yeah, man, they was out. But I needed that crown roll. Shit, I ain't feel like going nowhere else. It was right there. It was on the way. Anyway, man, hey, good show. I guess we'll holler at y'all another time. Hopefully next time we holler at y'all, the Ravens will still be winning. So, all right, Garland. Oh, I forgot to hit the outro. You got me all. Man, that's some
We're recording like 2 weeks. We
need a
You have been listening to
anybody out here want to work for like a Subway coupon or something?
Written by Calvin Coates and Garland Thomas for All Things Black Productions.
Get a buy one, get one
Follow
free.
us on all of your podcast media platforms.
We'll get you the coupon and shit. I'll let you log on to my app and get that shit. Later, man.
All right, bro. Peace.